Good afternoon. So other folks have an opportunity to see it and view it as need be. For those of you who do not know me, my name is Crystal Smith. I am the program manager for Transformational Learning in Montana Advanced Opportunities. Thank you for taking the time to be with us today. I'm going to briefly review what the annual report information looks like for fiscal year 2022 for both of these grants. And then there should be plenty of time to ask any questions if you have some at the end. So the reporting window for transformational learning has changed, and I spoke to a few of you about this already, but the window is anticipated to open January 3rd, 2022 at 8 a.m. and then close January 10th at 5 p.m. This window is open for only a week, but due to legislative changes, it's no longer a first come, first served window opening. Those districts that are looking to increase their FTE on their annual report, which we'll talk about in a little bit, will be able to do so. And then those districts will be put into part of a lottery system, which will then be a competitive drawing with districts that are new applicants for transformational learning. We say that this is anticipated as of January 3rd because right now this rule change is in a 30-day public comment period as it was presented to the Board of Public Education last week, and then the Board of Public Ed will make the ultimate decision upon this. But from our conversations with the Board of Public Ed last week, we, by all terms, anticipate it to be open January 3rd. Again, the rule change of this happened due to the 2019 legislative session where in House Bill 89, which was originally House Bill 351 for transformational learning, they changed the lottery system, and it was wrote into statute that it would be for all districts that submit their application after January 1st of 2022. So that is the reason for that window change. Montana Advanced Opportunities has the same window format as it has in past years. The first Monday in December, which is December 6th, open at 8 a.m. And then closing January 10th of 2022 at 5 p.m. Districts that are submitting annual reports for Montana Advanced Opportunities, there's no opportunity for increase of funds. So anytime within that window that you submit your application is just fine. And as we get closer to that January 10th cutoff date, I'll definitely be sending out reminders as for those districts that I have not received their application or their annual reports yet. You'll see that I've sent out to all districts the application for annual reports for both Transformational Learning Montana Advanced Opportunities. So you can look over those, and if you have any questions about them, I'm happy to answer them. But when you're looking as to what to report, these are the different boxes that are asked as a minimum to report for both of these different grants. Notice that some of them have the same within looking for the measurable objectives and progress towards them. Being able to clearly articulate what you've been able to do with the funding and what you look to anticipate to continue to do with the funding. For transformational learning, if your district is looking to increase FTE, this is where you would do so on your annual report for transformational learning, and then the rationale for that change as well. The number of students and teachers included, and that's been asked by the Board of Public Ed in prior reports to them. They want to know the specifics of who's being served by these funds. Your district strategic plan summary as it pertains to transformational learning. And remember that both of these annual reports need to have your board chair's signature in an actual meeting. So making sure that you have time to plan ahead to get the applications, or sorry, the annual reports signed by your school board chair. For Montana Advanced Opportunities, a couple of things that they're looking different for are not only the number of students served, but then also the specific credits, credentialing, and certifications that are being earned through these advanced opportunity programs that are being provided for your students. They ask in the bill for issues reported by stakeholders in the resolution. So if your district has had issues with the funding or concerns about it, what are those, and then how is your district looking to resolve those? Project growth and funding, and then again, that summarized strategic plan as it pertains to the advanced opportunities. A review of the funding cycles for transformational learning. It's 4 consecutive years. We know that some districts have just been funded for their 3rd and looking to have 1 more year of funding for that. And once districts are funded, they then their increase of FTE becomes competitive. So districts who are being funded for transformational learning who are with us today know that if you look to increase FTE, there's currently a wait list because we have a deficit of about $850,000 for districts that have already applied on the wait list. If you look to increase your FTE, you would go to the bottom of that wait list, and your ranking would be via that lottery system with new applications, as well as other districts that are looking to increase FTE. For Montana Advanced Opportunities, it's permanent funding as allocated by legislation. So if there are districts here that are funded for transformational learning, but have not applied for advanced opportunity funding, it might be a great opportunity to do so. In this last fiscal year, we had an abundance of about $350,000 that was not applied for from Montana districts. So there is no wait list for Montana Advanced Opportunities. So if that is a grant that might be of interest to you, applying would almost most certainly get you funding within the next fiscal year. When we look at funding uses, as I know some districts who are joining us today are in their 1st year being funded, transformational learning, you might be looking for digitalizing curriculums, providing a learning management system for students to be able to learn remotely and offsite. A lot of districts that are currently funded are working to enhance their project-based learning and assessment goals within their district, providing professional development as you look to transform teachers into from a more traditional setting into a personalized setting. Some districts have taken the route of trying to determine a profile of a graduate and what that might look like, and doing the work that trying to do the crosswalk between those essential skills that they want their graduates to be able to have, and then the district or the state standards that are being taught. So being able to provide that enhanced learning for students in a more personalized and choice-based setting. Some districts have used transformational learning to enhance gifted and talented courses, providing new opportunities for students in that realm, and then also being able to personalize interventions and create different tiers of interventions for students that might be struggling. So all different ways to transform learning. When I presented to the Ed Interim Committee last week, they had a lot of questions surrounding transformational learning and what districts are really doing to, as it says here, transform, get away from a traditional setting and provide instruction for students that proficiency is no longer measured via seat time. And so that's a real solid driving question for them as they look forward to financing and supporting transformational learning in the future, is being able to make sure that districts are not requiring seat time who are receiving this funding, and then again, really looking to do new and innovative, create new and innovative learning opportunities for students. Montana Advanced Opportunities, a little more cut and dry when you look at the use for that. Remember, 60% of the Montana Advanced Opportunity funds must go to offset parent out-of-pocket costs. Some of these examples would be providing for dual enrollment credits, ACT, SAT, and college prep testing, community-based learning, which ideally leads to certifications and credentialing based on student choice. And then the other 40% of Montana Advanced Opportunity funding can be used to enhance and to implement new CTE courses. And an example of that might be a trades academy. Some frequently asked questions that I have fielded in the last couple of weeks around annual reports is what happens if we don't spend all of our allotted funds in the first year of funding. And in the bill language, it states that funding can roll over for 1 year, and then any unpaid funds in that second year would be, any unspent funds would be repaid back to the Office of Public Instruction, which that funding comes from the Office of Public Instruction office. So if you're in your first year of funding, even if you're in your second year and you have funds from last year that you didn't use, I know that we all talk about COVID throwing a wrench into our plans, into life in general, but if there are opportunities that you anticipate that you're going to provide for students and that funding wasn't used for either of those grant opportunities, Montana Advanced Opportunity or Transformational Learning, you have another year to roll that over. Can student wages be paid for using Montana Advanced Opportunity funds? And the answer to that is no. The funding can only be used to offset parent costs and to enhance CTE programs, not to actually fund students who are out working and pay for students who are working in the field. And then I've met with some business managers regarding coding guidance, and there are both coding guidance for Transformational Learning and Montana Advanced Opportunities, and they've been linked here below that you should be able to access. Districts who are new to this are looking for some samples of annual reports. So all of the annual reports that were received for Transformational Learning for fiscal year 21 last year can be found linked here to the OPI website. As you'll see, some districts are only funded for 1 or 2 FTE. Other districts are funded for over 100 FTE. So those annual reports vary drastically. Remember, they're derived and their foundation comes from your individual district's strategic plan as it refers to transformational learning. But there are several applications and annual reports found on the website to this link. And then the 7 districts that were funded for Montana Advanced Opportunities in the last year, you'll find those annual reports as well, with several examples as to what to submit and how to record that information. Again, my name is Crystal Smith. Here's my personal cell phone number and my OPI email, and I am here to answer questions and to provide support any way that I can. So please don't hesitate to reach out to me. And that is all I have for today. If you have any individual questions that you'd like to ask, the time is all yours.
Hi there, thanks for the great presentation. My name is Danielle Ray. Could you email us that PowerPoint?
I sure will. Yep.
Should I just put it in your chat?
Yeah, your email address. That would, yep, Danielle, that'd be great.
Hey, Crystal, it's Todd Wester. You had described, I think in an email to me, that for schools like Livingston that aren't quite receiving our transformational learning grant money yet, that there's a year when we have to reapply, but this year is not it, correct?
Yeah, so for you specifically, Todd, you do not need to reapply for transformational learning because you were a new applicant last year. Okay. So if you do not receive funding in the following fiscal year, once a full fiscal year has lapsed from the time you apply to the time you receive funding, then you would resubmit your application to hold your current place. And so when we get to that next year, which I would anticipate you won't receive funding next year because of that large deficit, and there's some pretty large districts above yours, that you would need to resubmit your application, and I'll reach out to you when that time comes. But that is correct.
Okay. And
so the only thing we'd be looking for from
you know, I mean, I suppose things might have moved by that time, but then again, it's likely that the same application would be what we're applying for the money for. Would we potentially just resubmit exactly what we had before, or
Yeah, I mean, the application is pretty pretty cut and dry. I mean, it's checking the boxes. If your
Yeah.
district looks to increase your FTE, if that's an opportunity, you would submit that increase of FTE, and that would be non-competitive because you've not been funded yet. So that might be the only change. Again, the board chair signature, and then if your district strategic plan or that definition proficiency has changed from your initial application, you would include that as well.
Okay, but it looks like
Yeah, and
increase in FTE, if we can avoid going that route with the funding, then we've got a better shot at 4 years of consistent funding, correct? Versus if we leverage the funds to increase FTE, then we're looking at entering the competitive pool each year, correct?
yeah, so not until you're funded does it become competitive. Yeah, so in the next fiscal year, if you still aren't funded in fiscal year 23, which I don't think you will be, but you choose to increase your FTE, you would hold your same waitlist position and you could increase your FTE at that time. Once you get funded, that increase of FTE then becomes competitive. So you would still receive your qualified amount of funding that the Board of Public Ed would qualify based on your application, but that increased amount would then become the competitive piece of that.
Okay.
If that makes
Great.
sense.
Yeah.
Okay. Hey, Spencer, it's been a while.
I was just gonna say I didn't want to interrupt anybody's questions, and it looks like my light is kind of goofy here. But anyway, it's nice to see you.
Good to see you as well.
Thank you, Crystal.
You're welcome. Spencer, do you have any questions or?
Well, I was just gonna show you kind of some after everybody was kind of leaving. I was gonna show you a couple of things that we were doing, and then see
Okay.
if we could use some transformational learning stuff for that. But I didn't want to. It's more of a longer conversation. I just wanted. I haven't caught up with you, so I wanted to show you some stuff.
Gotcha.
But if other
Yeah.
people have questions, then let them go, and then I can catch you at the end.
For sure.
If not, oh, it looks like that might be it. Okay, so I don't know. Unless Heather's got something, then I can then I'd show you. But what I've got is I just wanted to update you on a couple of things and then to figure out like what I could. I don't know why. I don't know. Let's see if I can move this. Maybe I get a better. I don't know. I think it's just that it's evening, like it's getting darker.
Yeah, yeah.
I can't see anything. Anyway, can you see?
Okay.
Can you see this? Or are you recording right now?
Yep.